Hi, everybody. Welcome to Fire and Water, the podcast, coming of age in this age, where Quinita and I seek to cultivate wise leaders one show at a time. It's Quinita Robertson. It's me, Tenneson Wolf. And today we're coming together to really follow on some conversations that we've had. Quinita, you and I have had for a while here. And the best that I can frame it, I think, is to say it's a little bit of a circle buffet. You and I are doing a lot of
Yes.
learning on circle and some experiments with some of the people that we're with. So I think there's a little bit of a circle buffet, and this might be a 2 or 3 or 4 part piece that we chop off somewhere and come back to for another piece later on. Circle buffet.
Yes.
Hi, Quinita.
Hi, Tennyson. I like that circle buffet because it really has been working me in different ways. And you and I have been in multiple conversations around circle and what is circle. What is circle to me? How do I hold it with where I go? How are we holding circle together? What pieces for me are we adding to community of circle? That's uniquely flavored by our background and experiences. And some of what I've been playing with is this whole idea of being the circle way. A lot of our work is how are we in relationship with these things? How do I think we move circle from a subject to a practice? and and just really interested in that, really interested in what breathes life into it, what helps me and others to sink our teeth into it, so to speak.
Yeah, can I pick that up for a sec?
Yeah.
Yeah, this notion to being circle, of course, this is an ongoing piece that you and I have picked up, and I know that others have also. I love it that one of the groups that we're working with here, we've defined our it's a 4-week online class with a group of 18 or so people, and we've themed the different classes. And we started out sort of thinking of some more traditional kinds of things, and then we said, wait, what if we said week 1 was on being circle, week 2 on doing circle, week 3 on inviting circle, and week 4 on integrating circle. I still love all of that. And the being part of it, just to go back to that, is it just feels exciting because circle is so much more than a methodology to me as I think about it, and has been this way for a long time. There's a way in which we sort of become the spirit of circle, or we become the energy of circle. We become, a group of people that is really intimately connected into some kind of center in the middle. Those are all references to being. I think there's some really important doing in circle, and do this step and try this step. But the gold of it is when I think any of us, individually and as a group, we get more of that energy of we're now being circle, or if I say it differently, instead of us circling, we are being circled, something like that.
Yeah. I think I like when I'm thinking about being the circle way. The circle way is a methodology that we use. Christina and Anne, beautiful work that they've done with it. I like honoring that. And I think that for me as a woman of color, I feel the need to root it and anchor it in my first experiences of circle. I think that the circle way has wonderful, you say container. Someone recently said, they call it nest, which actually I like that holding things in a nest or framework. And I want something else to lead. I often will say that so often we think we can do our way to being instead of being our way to doing. And that piece around how do we be our way to doing. And so one of the things that I love about us starting with groups and being circle first is because we get to anchor it into what already is an experience that they're having. We get to anchor it into stuff they already know. We all have sat around the kitchen table to try to make a decision on something with others, and to bring that forefront And then the second week, like you said, we do doing circle, where then we can put some of the framework so that we are starting with the being and moving into, okay, so now what can support that?
Yeah, yeah. I definitely feel an appreciation for Christina and Anne and their own way of sharing some of what being circle has meant. I mean, a lot of the deeper experience of circle for me has come in some kind of friendship and colleagueship and continued practice with them. Um, and of course, they're the kind of people that say, "Oh my gosh, take what you've learned from us and grow it," in additional ways. So I feel the invitation to keep evolving or deepening the practice. If I go back to the buffet stuff, I think one of the things that I would offer in this, part one of perhaps a few parts, is even the notion of buffet feels important, because I'm thinking of, potluck picnics and or dinners where, people come over and nobody is assigned to bring everything, but individuals are asked to bring something. And when, in a buffet style or in a potluck style, it's not even bringing something for everyone to have. It's not like I'm bringing a salad that has to feed 25 people. I'm bringing a salad that might feed 8 people. And uh, something in the buffet or in the potluck of it is that we're relying on the whole. We're relying on everybody bringing something,
Yeah.
and then having an experience together where all of us are fed, but it's not by just the one thing that anybody brought. It's somehow by the more full experience of the buffet or the potluck itself. There's something in that that feels like interesting noodling around, or interesting pointing to, this concept of when we gather in circle, when we dare to gather in circle, or when we're in a good enough container, there's something in the middle that arises out of it. That is, some people will talk about emergence and some people will talk about entanglement and all of these, but the short of it is people get something that is the product of all of us being connected or contributing together. There's some that's some of the gold, some of the magic of circle that I find myself, excited about and wanting to point people towards, like, oh, it's like a buffet.
Yeah, I like that. I like, the whole idea. I was thinking of where circle for me, and I share this, a couple places, but for me, my first experience of circle, I think, was at my grandparents' kitchen table. My next experience was at my grandparents' church, and then in Montessori education, and then in an organization called Public Allies, and then being introduced to the Circle Way, that then gave me language and some holding, I guess, of what, I had already been practicing for years beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
And, I love this whole idea of being circle. There's a woman, Bea Richards, she played everybody's black mama in the day in all the old movies. Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, all those movies. And there's a documentary about when she was dying. And one of the things she says, she gives a definition for being, of lacking no essential quality, being
Mm-hmm.
complete and whole. Everything you need, you've got, she says. And she says, even if not yet realized. And I think about circle in that way, like, the trusting that everything that we need to accomplish whatever it is we're there to do in that time, we have.
Yeah.
It's complete and whole, and
Yeah.
we can lean into that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. For me, my brain translates that a little bit into a reliance on wholeness. That's some of the language that comes with a Circle Way and one of the principles. But I'm also just relating, Quinina, to the years before, long, long ago kind of experiences, and before I would have called it circle or anything close to that. I'm just relating to, in my family system, even as a kid, we were asked what we thought.
Yeah.
And so we were asked to contribute, or, we were asked what we were feeling or what we're thinking. And there was some deliberate kind of listening that was going on. I didn't think of that as circly kinds of things. It was just parents being parents, aunts and uncles being aunts and uncles, cousins being cousins. but there was an expectation that we would, we would share the space with one another. And somehow that probably, led my way into a natural attraction into what is circle. If I just shift that a little bit though too, because I find that one of the things that I keep saying is, it turns out that circle is more than just rearranging the chairs, because I like the simple reference point of that, and the pointing to more than the shape or more than that simple act, even though that itself can be pretty radical kind of thing. I think what keeps growing for me, Juanita, is circle. Like when most of us know the experience of chatting or having a good time socially or having even a good connection. There are times when we need to shift from the beauty of all of that good social space into another quality of listening and thoughtful speaking with one another. And so from the social space to the circle space, or the social space to the council space. And that's where I find myself leaning into more of like, what's this circle stuff and its components and practices and things like that, because some circumstances require us to say, let's just listen together in a bit of a different way. What do
Yeah,
you think about
I I agree. And I think, one of the things that came up for me when I was listening to you speak is this whole idea about language and communication. And one of the reasons I think it's good to lead with the being
that?
is because, we can get so much, and I think in OD world or in the world, we have our own kind of language of how we describe stuff, and it's not necessarily everyday speak.
Mm-hmm.
And, communication requires us
Mm-hmm.
to think about what we're trying to convey, but also who we're conveying it to, right? And so like culturally, starting with the being allows us to meet people where they're at in a way that I think starting with the doing doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
And and so I'm just so there's some fascination for me around how do we enter into these spaces and um, um, help people connect
Yeah.
to the framework in a way that is deep, fun, and easy.
Yeah. Or for me, it's like it leads with feeling.
Yes.
Let's just go for the feeling rather than leading with the how to.
Yes.
Here's the 7 steps to, for example, working with conflict or working with shadow in circle. Instead, just go into the feeling of connection. And if
Yes.
people can get that, then to me, it's a much easier bridge or offering of additional language or invitation for that matter to say, here's a little bit of what might support that. So a little bit of the feeling first, the how to after. That
Yes.
really excites me.
Because I think the feeling fuels the curiosity. If you felt, of course, that you got to participate in conversations where you felt listened to and heard and seen,
Yeah.
all of us want more of that.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a quote that I'm going to botch right now, but I've used it along the way, and I don't have the book. I can't find it right now. It's something about if you want to build a ship, don't send people off with orders about what kind of trees to mill into planks of wood and all of that kind of stuff. It's like don't make the to-do team first. Send these people to the sea and let them just enjoy the vastness of the sea, and then from there the work is totally different. So I think there's something about just the magnificence of circle, the magnificence of connection,
Yeah.
which by the way then we can back up into here's a few things that help. That gets exciting.
And I think that I'm always looking in different spaces of what brings us back to center, like what brings us balance. And because we live in such a culture that's so heavy in the doing, you're talking about leading with the feeling of it,
Mm-hmm.
that's where we tend to be out of balance. And
Yeah.
so to invite people into that first just seems like it's what's needed these days.
Yeah. So question.
Yeah.
You, Quinita, with all of these good words and thoughts and directions that we're talking about, what's one thing that you love about circle?
Mm. Hmm. I the thing I think that I love most about Circle, and I've said this before, but I think again it's easy to hear things with just the words and not let them sink in,
Sure.
is that it's not only a place where we get to remember that we belong to each other, but that we are each other. And why I think that's important is, and first of all, that we are each other and that we matter are the
Mm-hmm.
two pieces. Um, I think that we do so much of trying to take care of other people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one of the things that's held up in Circle in the way that we practice it is ask for what you need and we'll offer what we can, which to me speaks to responsibility. And when I really get
Everybody, not just the
everybody's own responsibility for the whole, right? And when I really get that I matter and that I'm going to be seen and heard, I'm able to offer that to others.
Yeah.
Because if I'm tending to myself and if I'm seeing and hearing me and asking for what I need and we're connected, then I am tending to you. I don't have to, I don't have to like be tending to you to be, you know, individually, or what I think that is to be tending to you, because I can never really know what you need. But if I'm tending to myself and we're connected, I am tending to the whole.
Yeah, that's good. That's some pretty deep layer there. We're you know, we're tending to something in the middle here.
Yes.
That ends up being nourishing for whoever's connected to it, or can be so nourishing that way.
Yes.
You said sorry, say again.
That question for you. So what is it that you?
I'll come back to it. I won't avoid it completely. I'm not avoiding it. I'm just teasing. But you said you came up with a rather clever line earlier this week around circles and boxes. Will you just share that?
A circle as a way to help us get out of the boxes we find ourselves in. You know.
And how is it that you came upon such clever words in yourself, or found such cleverness?
Well, I just think that, you know, for me, circle can help us find our freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, the boxes are the lack of freedom.
Yeah.
And so it was just a, you know, it's a clever play, but it's it's this whole on words, but it's this whole idea of how do we find more and more of our freedom. I'm a so what kind of girl. And so circle is a way that we can get clarity. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, the boxes are a little bit about the imposed boxes, you know, like the unchallenged, wait a minute, who said it has to be this way? Whoa, there's a box around that.
Well,
and you're able to break.
See, I'm a bad circler. And I would also say, you know, that the imposed boxes aren't really imposed either. So to me, even that idea is a box, right? That it can be imposed on us. That so much of what we, you know, I think, because I believe we're co-creators for everything that shows up for us. And so when we really get that we have the power to challenge some of those things, it changes everything.
Yeah, that's good. I think if I respond to the question and just playing off a little bit of what you're saying there, you know, what is it that what's one of the things that I love about Circle is I think it creates an experience of being able to be in such a quality of connection with the people that are involved, that there is an experience of, I would call it flow. There's an experience of intimacy or of, you know, learning and connection that's there, that has a real added palpable quality to it. And when we're able to encounter such things in a group, like in the simple process of passing a piece, taking a turn, contributing what we feel, think, wonder about, etc., including the boxes that are around the boxes, etc., then, you know, we've done some pretty deep, some deep learning and something quite significant together. So what do I love about Circle? The, beyond the headspace of that is the belly memory for me of being in really significant learning and connection with one another, where it feels like, back to the buffet, the whole of the buffet is a fantastic meal, or the whole of what people have contributed with their words or their stories or their questions is like just a fantastic buffet. And to be able to, share together in that, I think it's, one, it's joyful, and two, it's utterly needed in the times that we live in. That's a bit for me.
Can I add one more thing to the buffet?
One more thing.
It's the masculine and feminine circle.
Mm.
I'm surprised that more men aren't drawn to circle, because I see the container or the framework of what we do as the masculine, and more men, I guess, specifically to the circle way, because it does give you that framework and that container and the holding. I think what, like, the diving in and the embodiment of what happens in circle is the feminine of the circle. Mm-hmm. And I think that that just surprises me that there's not more men who are who show up in these spaces. I'm getting more and more in the places where I'm holding circle these days. It seems like I'm getting about half men now, which is a lot more than has been in the past, but I'll put that in the center.
Sweet. Any closing thoughts then for now? That was a bit of a closing thought. Anything else you want to add before pressing stop on this one?
No, I think that's good. Until next time, we'll just keep letting it work us.
I feel the next time already, like, oh, let's do this now too. Thanks everyone for joining then or listening today, and thanks for your support and your own inquiry that goes along with some of the things that Juanita and I are getting to share here. If you wish further information, our shared website is fireandwaterleadership.weebly.com. Juanita can be found and researched at nizuzu.com, and for me it's tennysonwolf.com. Thanks for today.
Thank you.